Hello, I'm Lynda from Scallywag Astrology.
And I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And this is Astro Babble, where we babble about astrology. And this time we're talking about the full moon in Virgo on the 18th of March, 2022. And that will be at 27 degrees Virgo 40.
Great. That sounds great. It's that at that time, the moon's going to be in the 14th mansion. And it is good for, and the mansions are what we use for electional astrology, but if you're going to use it for anyways, for what the day's going to be, it'd be good for marriage. It would be good for water travel. It's good for associations. Any associations that you start up on that day would be good. It is not good for depositing valuables with other people. And it's not good for travel, but it's good for water travel.
Oh, okay. So only water travel. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's just a little bit of, what I would look at if I were doing an electional chart. If somebody were doing one of those objects, I would say, yes, it's, favorable to do that or not.
Really interesting. Yeah. The moon mansions certainly bring a lot of extra information, don't they?
They do. They do. Well, the moon is the closest planet to the Earth, so it is the one planet that affects us the most.
Oh, totally, totally. Well, we've got the chart for the full moon here. I'm just going to grab something here so I can show people things. So you've got the moon here at 27 degrees Virgo, 40 minutes, and you've got the sun opposite at 27 degrees Pisces, 40 minutes. Because a full moon is when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. And full moons are usually about a time of completion or a time of harvest.
Yeah, it's time to start wrapping things up, collecting the things that you've worked on to grow. So now we're trying to decrease.
Yes,
or it's favorable to decrease.
As at the full moon, when you plant the seeds, and then the moon is dark and it slowly grows over the 14 days till it gets to its brightest peak, which is the full moon, and then it starts decreasing in light. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So our cycles kind of always go that ebb and flow of a moon and how it goes.
And if you are a Virgo sun, moon, or rising sign, most particularly a rising sign, Donna and I think most astrologers like to use the ascendant or rising sign when talking about your horoscope, or if we give a horoscope reading. But if you don't know your ascendant or rising sign, there's places online like astro.com you can go to and find out that information quite easily, or you can contact me or Donna and we can get you that information. We just need your time, date and place of birth, and that time is very important because the degree of the ascendant changes about every 4 minutes, I believe.
Yes.
Very quickly moving. So if you are a Virgo sun, moon or rising sign, this is happening in your first house. So you might be wrapping up things to do with your health and vitality, or your appearance, or how others see you. So this could be, you've been working on your health and vitality. Maybe, you've reached your goal weight, or, you've got a new look or something similar.
Right. Yep. And then if you are a Leo, this full moon is going to happen in your second house, and you're going to be finishing up, hopefully taxes. If you're in the United States, would be a good time to be finishing up that. But that is one of the things. It's going to happen in your financial house. So anything that you are trying to work on, this is going to give that energy to finish it up. If that's in your second house.
Yeah. And if you're a Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, this will be happening in your third house. So this could relate to your siblings because the third house is siblings, but it could also be things happening in your general local neighborhood. It's also communications, thinking, could be things like short distance travel, short courses. So you might be wrapping up a short course, or, you know, maybe some building, construction, that sort of thing has been going on in your neighborhood and it wraps up at this time. You know, maybe something that your siblings involved with is coming to some sort of height or completion or harvest at this time.
Ooh, okay. And if you are a Gemini rising, this is going to happen in your fourth house. And that is going to be finishing up things that you're doing around your house, whether it's cleaning out a closet, as it's close to spring around here. You could be finishing up any kind of a projects that would have to do with your house. You might want to be working on things that have something to do with your parents, because the fourth house has a lot to do with where you come from. So it's your parents or your lineage and that kind of thing. So all those kinds of things, if it's not you in your home, it could be your parents' home that you're finishing up some details that you might have.
Yeah.
With the Virgo, everything is, you're looking at the details. So it's all through the lens of a Virgo. So if you think of the things about a Virgo, they're very meticulous, they're very detailed oriented. So that, like, you know, the finances and the community, you're going to be looking in your house, you're going to be looking at those with more of a detailed eye, which is nice. I mean, if you don't get the details, a lot of things can get missed. So we appreciate our Virgos for that.
Yes, yes. And if you are a Taurus, sun, moon, or rising, this will be happening in your fifth house, which is a rather fun house. This may have something to do with your children, or it could relate to a hobby or a creative project. It could be something to do with a romance, or it could be something just fun, socializing, gambling. Yeah,
maybe
anyway.
that trip of, maybe that vacation that you're wanting to take is, you know, you're finishing all those details.
Yeah, no, the fifth house is just a really, really fun house. Yeah. So it should be a very fun time for Tauruses.
Yes. Right. And then if you're an Aries, this new moon's going to be hitting in your sixth house. And as it's a full moon, the light's dimming. So this would be a good time to, like, start a weight loss, because you're trying to reduce, you know, the light is reducing. So for health like that, you can, let's see, what else would you want to reduce in a sixth house? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it is the house of health, and like you were talking about reducing it and things like, you know, maybe it'd be a good time for starting chemotherapy. But I mean, when we talk about starting things, I think of new moon, but maybe completing something like chemotherapy or something, maybe that would be quite advantageous. Kind of medical astrology, I'm kind of, you know, not really conversant with that, but maybe just it's daily routines. So wrapping up daily routines, and yeah, and pets as well. So
yep. Yeah, with the sixth house, we're looking through it with that Virgo eye. You're going to look at the details of what's working for you and what's not, especially with the Venus and Mars are doing that. They're doing that power struggle. So this might give you that critical eye that you need.
Interesting. And if you're a Pisces, sun, moon, or rising, this is going to be happening in your seventh house. So this is relationships. So when we talk about the full moon, we spoke about endings or completion. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, oh, it's my relationship, it's going to end. It doesn't mean that. I mean, if you have you need to have an ending before you can have a new beginning in some way. So this could be, you're going from, dating to something a bit more serious. Maybe you're getting engaged or moving in, or becoming exclusive, or some sort of shift, some sort of completion of that relationship. And when we talk about the seventh house, we often think of partners like our significant other, but it's also really close friends, and it's business partners, and also open enemies. So, I mean, it could be a battle royal with your nemesis, but hopefully not.
It could be meeting the parents, which is
indeed, yes, it could be. Actually, I could see that very Virgo-y, like, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
making it official.
Yes, yes, yes. They are. They do like to cross their T's and dot their I's. My sister's a Virgo, so I love her, but and I appreciate the energy. It's just very Virgo. I'm more of a cool, lay back kind of a person. Anyway, if Aquarius is your rising sign, this full moon is going to be hitting you in your 8th house, and that is going to be other people's money. That is also about starting new things and finishing up the old stuff, and then getting into that new kind of energy for the 8th house. It has a lot to do with energy, but it has a lot to do with transformation. It has a lot to do with that stopping and starting, and what do you need and what's working. So that might be what you're facing for the 8th house.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, this could be a time when inheritances are kind of finalized, or financial deals, loans, all that sort of thing. And you mentioned earlier too, it's coming up to tax time over there.
It is. It is.
And if you're a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, this is happening in your 9th house. So the 9th house is higher education. So you might be finishing up some type of long-term study. It also has to do with long-distance travel and foreigners, beliefs, religion, other cultures, the law, and publishing. So it's a lot of different topics. Any one of those things could be coming to some sort of completion or culmination at this time.
Right? Like trials.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it could be a court case coming to an end.
Getting to that peak, that the moon, that blue line on this particular diagram, that blue line is a trine, and it's trining right to Pluto, which is definitely about that, getting rid of what's not working and what is working. So that is another feature that this moon is highlighting.
Yeah, that's something we didn't kind of speak about, isn't it? It's and of course we've got the sun here. I mean, we're talking about the full moon, so we're concentrating on the moon, but the sun here is with Neptune, which is kind of clouding things a little bit, which I don't think our Virgo new full moon is going to be awfully happy about, having that fogginess around. But we've got Jupiter there, which does give some, kind of lightens things quite a bit. And then we've got Mercury there in Pisces, where it's in detriment. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting dynamic, because like we said,
details a little bit bigger.
Yeah, a little bit more fuzzier. And
so you can see them.
Yeah. So that might be a little bit challenging for some people. Kind of, you got that opposition between wanting to nail down and being precise and, like you said, detail orientated. And then we've got the sun opposite, and it's kind of hanging out with loosey-goosey Neptune. And then you got Mercury in Pisces, who's just having a beautiful dream. So yeah, that might be a little bit challenging. But the sun is sextiling that Pluto, which is intense and depth, and the moon is trining it. So, I don't think it's going to be horrible or anything. It's just, there might be a little bit of, just some people might find that a little bit frustrating, perhaps.
Yeah, or overwhelming. or not used to it. I don't think Virgo really likes Neptune. They'd
No.
rather have the facts. They'd rather be seen clearly. And so this could be a little bit rougher for those people who need to have those facts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because that's a lot of Pisces energy there.
that is with the sun and that Neptune and Mercury and Jupiter is just making all that bigger. So yeah, moving on to Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your rising sign, this is going to hit you in your 10th house, and that's going to be your house of what you're known for, or your employment, your work. Things will be coming to a culmination because of the full moon. If you have any projects at work, or things that you want to wrap up, this is the good energy to use that to get that going.
Yeah, most definitely. And if you're a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising, this is happening in your 11th house, which is another really nice house. This is groups, friends, and organizations. It's also your hopes and dreams. So you might be coming to some sort of completion or culmination with regard to activities with groups or friends. It could also be, you kind of achieving something that you've been working on, something you've really wanted, those hopes and dreams.
Yeah. And you're going to get to those, the points of those with that Scorpion energy. It's going to seek out the details. It'll help the Virgo seek out the details. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I could see those two working rather well together. So,
yeah, I'm a Scorpio and my sister's a Virgo, so that's how we work. Moving on to Libra. If you are a Libra rising, this full moon is going to happen in your 12th house. And that's going to be energy where you're going to be ending things because it's the 12th house. But with the Virgo, it's going to want to make sure that it's fair. So that is the helpful aspect with being a Libra rising.
Yeah.
The one thing about that is, if you can see, as I'm looking here, Venus, who runs Virgo, or who runs Libra, she's sitting right in between Mars, which is malefic, and Saturn, which is a malefic, and that kind of constrains. Yeah, that can kind of constrains Venus. So she's really not all that happy.
No. I can't wait till she gets into Pisces.
Yeah, that'll be nice when she can get past all those.
Yeah, but like you pointed out, she's besieged there. She's surrounded by both sides by both malefics. That's a hard place to be.
Right. It's like basically leaving somebody. It's like your mom's yelling at you, and you walk out the door, and your boyfriend's mad at you. It's like you've got nowhere to rest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's how I would
not fun at all.
Explain that. It's like or out from the fire and into the pan. There's no way to make that nice with Venus.
Yeah. No, that's not an awfully fun position for her.
It won't be long.
How long? Pardon?
It won't be long. She'll be able to get. Once she goes past Saturn, she'll be free of all
she'll
this.
Be fine.
This bad energy. So it's not that long. What, March or April 6th?
I'm not sure exactly when she moves into Pisces, but it's got to be soon. And I look forward to that time.
Yep. Do you have anything else to add on to Libra in the 12th house, or should I move on to the stone?
No, I think we'll move on to the stone. I mean, 12th house, like you said, it's wrapping things up. It's also rest and seclusion. That can be addictions and that sort of thing. So you might be wrapping up issues too that relate to that, but generally endings and rest and retreat, you know.
Yeah.
Or jail or hospital, because places of confinement. So
yeah, places of confinement. And it can be self-imposed confinement as well.
Yeah, you know, that retreat or, you know, seclusion.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a time when you're kind of coming out of kind of a self-imposed seclusion.
Yeah. Yep. So before we move on to the planetary energy, because it's so close to St. Patrick's Day, I have brought, this is a rough emerald. It's not a rough, it's a tumbled stone. It's not the gem quality emerald, but this is what an emerald looks like out of the ground.
Very pretty. Actually, let me just quickly get out of here for the moment. Stop share so we can see it fully. There it is. Oh, very pretty. I do like emeralds.
Yeah. I like emeralds too. You know, I'm Irish, so I do like the emerald. The one thing that I have read, and I wish I could find out where I read it from, and I don't remember because I read a lot about stones and stuff. But for a very long time, jewelers keep emeralds on their desks. If you gaze into an emerald, it helps with your eyes, your eyesight.
Oh,
it's said to help with your eyesight.
And that would be super important to a jeweler. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because maybe it's the depth. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why or how it helps. But when I do a layout, I'll put these on the eyes.
Oh, okay, nice.
For that energy. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. It's a barrel kind of formation of a crystal. It's been used since 1300 BC. They've dug up people who have, you know, from that long ago and have found formed emeralds. It's mined in Colombia, Brazil, Russia, and Africa. It's associated with Venus. Emeralds and try to boost up Venus a little bit. It did have some history with an emerald tablet, which it was inscribed with information on how to do transformation and enlightenment.
Oh wow!
It's called the Emerald Tablet, and it's an old ancient artifact, and it's supposed to have this information that helps with transformation and enlightenment. It gives the emerald is supposed to help with unconditional love, compassion, and it brings you closer to divine love, which is, you know, speaking to your source. The energy that it gives you is courage with an open heart, which is nice. It's also an abundant stone. That's why I brought it, because, you know, it's spring almost, or I'm hoping. And it has a
Venus needs the help at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, Venus needs the help. And it has a Mohs hardness of 7.5 to 8. So it makes it a nice durable stone to use as jewelry. Yeah,
my engagement ring was emerald and diamond. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I didn't know about it being associated with Venus, but it makes sense, like, you know, green for Venus and that. So yeah.
Now you know why.
Very interesting.
You can also I will have other information. I finally did my blog on stones, the green stones. Good. There's an Irish song called 40 Shades of Green, which I kind of ripped the title, or I borrowed the title from that. It's 40 Shades of Green Stone. And it's a picture of 40 green stones, and I'll be listing what
Oh,
all they
wow.
are as we go through them. But
So
I'm not
40
doing green
different
stones from now on.
stones, or
I'll do other stones, but that's part of that argument. I'm sorry, say that again.
so there's 40 different kind of green colored stones.
More than that.
Wow.
More than that. Oh yeah.
Damn.
There's 4,000 known crystals.
Oh, wow.
Green is just one of the colors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I started an article. I started a blog. It has a picture of all those. You want to go there and see if you can figure out what the stones are before I can get to them.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah. And I wonder if you're kind of like intuitively drawn to the shade of green that a crystal might be helpful to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, I do, as a crystal energy worker. I want to say healer, but I really can't, because it's not like taking aspirin and your headache goes away. It takes a lot longer. It takes energy. It takes intuition. It takes a little bit of doing. So you really can't say, take this and it'll heal you. Crystals don't work that way. It took a while for your chakras to get unbalanced. It's going to take a while for your chakras to come back into balance. So they don't really work like that. But yeah, when I'm reaching for my into the green stones, my hand will literally go to the green stone that it needs for whoever I'm doing a layout for. That's preonite is one of the stones that helps me understand those energies. So that's why I use a preonite bracelet.
Ah, interesting. I was just thinking too, because the green chakra is a heart too. So there you've got that Venus heart.
Yes,
that
it's
sort
pink
of
and green.
correlation.
Your heart chakra is pink and green.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Rose quartz and green. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Or rhodochrosite. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can do, but yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. So will you have an article about emerald, or are you going to have the one about?
It's the same one, and it's going to be in the same spot. I'll link it to, or I'll send a link to the astro.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description. So yeah.
And you'll be able to get right there. It's on my website.
Fantastic. Excellent. Oh, that'll be great. And shall we have a look at the rest of the aspects up until it must be the new moon in Aries it's April 1st. So April 1st.
Yeah. We have a couple of planets that are moving in between that and causing aspects or creating aspects. We can start off with, on the 18th, the sun is sextiling Pluto. I think that was
let's have a look. Sun six. Yes, we mentioned that. Yeah. Let me get my little pen here so I can draw. So we have the sun sextiling Pluto.
Right. Still within an orb.
And that's a nice, helpful energy. It kind of makes you feel a little bit more empowered and, insightful, because Pluto is about depth and honesty, and the sextiles are helpful aspects. So that's quite nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the next aspect is going to be Venus squaring Uranus.
And that is on the next day.
Yeah, that's on the 19th. Yeah, a square aspect is it's tension. So as we said earlier, Venus already isn't feeling wonderful with that besiegement that she's under, and she's got that square with Uranus.
Oh my. Poor Venus. That's not much fun at all, is it?
Uranus has a destabilizing quality about it. So being in land, an earth sign, and Venus, there could be a little bit of destabilization, especially with where it's at in groups and besieged. Yeah. It's in Aquarius.
I mean, Venus is in the superior position. She's earlier in zodiacal order. So she does have a little bit of, it does give her some advantage, but like you said, she's between Mars and Saturn, and then she's got, you know, Uranus kind of giving a drama too, or grief. So yeah, it's not much fun for her. So relationships, not just romantic, but just relationships in general with other people might be kind of a little bit shaken, and maybe unusual things happen which make people edgy and jumpy, and people don't like change. And yeah, it's just unfortunate, really, isn't it?
Well, we all have to go through, you know, all the planets have to go through these aspects, and we've all gone through them before. So but it is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. And then the next day, on the 20th, we have the Aries Ingress, which it looks like, what time is that going to be? Probably just around about midday in Detroit on the 20th.
About 11:33.
Oh, okay, there you go.
AM.
Excellent. Yeah, so the Aries Ingress, this is the official, it's synced to the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere and the autumn one down here. So you have equal amounts of light on this day, which is, you know, and from this day forward, you're going to have more light in your day in the Northern Hemisphere. So light is starting to overcome dark, and it's the start of your zodiac wheel again. So yeah, interesting. We're going to do a podcast very soon looking at the Aries Ingress for some charts for countries, and what we think might happen to them over the next year or so, depending on their Aries Ingress charts. So
that will be fun. I can hardly wait. I am so interested in, you know, the country's outlook, the country's outlook for you know, this Aries Ingress. It should be fun. The other thing that's occurring on this day, March 20th, is called International Astrologers Day. I don't know if you guys celebrate that in Australia or not, but it's considered one of the holidays. If you're an astrologer.
We'll have a little party.
Go look out at the stars.
And then the next day, we've got Mercury and Jupiter conjoining. So,
big news.
Yes, that'll be interesting. Expansive thinking. Let me try and get it. There we go.
When Mercury and Jupiter get together, Jupiter is that that energy of expanse or making something larger than what you would expect. Now, in other words, if somebody said, "Here's a slice of chocolate cake," they're going to give you the whole cake. It's you know, it's bigger than what you expect. So, and then when planets are right on top of each other, that's a conjunct, and that's what they're doing. So Mercury, in charge of commerce and communication and sales and, you know, that kind of thing, getting right on top of Jupiter should be big, more than what you were expecting.
Yeah. And when planets are conjunct or right next to each other, there's kind of like a blending of their energies. So you've got Mercury, which Donna was talking about, being commerce and trade and all that sort of stuff. It's also thinking and communications. And then you've got that Jupiter, which is expansive, because Jupiter is one of the benefics, which means kind of like brings good things. So like Donna was talking about the chocolate cake, you know, if somebody were to give me a whole chocolate cake as opposed to a slice, I mean, that's like, ew, nice, you know. So as long as you don't go overboard, because like all planets, you know, you can go to extremes. But yeah, this is a good time for expansive thinking, and communications. Might be a time where we're kind of, there might be some tall tales, because that Mercury in Pisces is, you know, it's not the most analytical. We're talking about Virgo because we've been talking about the Virgo full moon. Virgo is very precise and analytical. Pisces is the opposite sign. So yeah.
More dreamier, the more dreamier energy.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, yeah, they're not lineal. It's not like A, B, C. It might be A, G, H, P, Q, you know.
Yeah.
So
and so close to Neptune that could go overboard on those things that you have crutches with. So be careful with that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to, I'm not telling you what you should do, but if you don't want to indulge or go overboard on anything, be careful with that Neptune so close to Jupiter.
Yeah, yeah. And then
the
we
next
have
energy is would be on the 22nd. That's Mars is going to be squaring Uranus, and Mars energy is known for separation or heat. So with that destabilizing square tension there, something seems like it's gonna give, or you know.
Yeah, that tension between Mars and Uranus, and they're both kind of a bit impatient, and yeah, Uranus is unstable. Mars can be rather unstable. Yeah, nerves could be very, very strained on that day. I think I've heard people talk about explosions in general. This could be not necessarily communications and that, but just, yeah, people are probably going to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of maybe looking to be offended more at this time than they may usually be. You might kind of joke with somebody usually and it's not a problem, and you try it on this day and it's just like, you know, you get a filthy look or a slap or
a side eye. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely time to be a little bit more careful with your speech, especially with Venus, because that other person doesn't have a really good feeling of Venus. So that normally, oh, that's okay, you know, I'll wash over that, is not going to be there because she's not happy.
No, and she's already dealing with enough. She's had enough of your bullshit.
Yes. She's like, yeah, I'm not putting up with anything, and yeah, so it might be a little hard. So it'll be easier if everybody just takes a little bit of space between their anger and their mouth, letting it out. Yeah.
And the moon's going to be in Scorpio at that time, so that'll be interesting.
With the south node right there.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. It looks
kind of
like
with,
we've got Neptune at the bendings of the nodes. So, yeah.
Or Saturn, yeah, real close. Yeah. So we have on the 20.
Oh no, you're quite right. It is Saturn, not Neptune. Neptune is actually trine that the nodes. That's I prefer that actually.
Yeah. There's your Mercury going.
Mercury
I'll just look at what I want to.
Oh, goodness.
If only that were available. I don't think we were like, yeah, I'll sit this year without Saturn. I don't think we can do that. We can't. None of these players on the screen are sitting out.
No, unfortunately. They kind of front and center.
Yes.
And then on the 23rd, we have Mercury and Neptune. Mercury and Neptune, they're not exactly conjunct here at the time. They will be later because this is just after midnight here. But yeah, I'm trying not to spin the wheel too much. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. We're talking about Mercury being communications and thinking, and then Neptune, which can be really idealistic and dreamy, can also be a little bit deceptive though. But with Neptune, it's kind of like, what am I not seeing? It's all kind of fog or smoke and mirrors. So this could be like a really great time to be creative or, you know, very idealistic and that. But it's also, you know, maybe if you hear something roundabout on the 23rd of March that you think, that doesn't sound right, it possibly isn't. And not even that necessarily people are trying to deceive you, though some might be. Maybe it's just, it's that crossed wires, you know, somebody didn't, you know, they used a word that they thought meant this, but it really means that. And yeah, just, if it seems too good to be true on that day, I would be very wary.
Take it with a grain of salt. It's confusing energy. In other words, whatever you hear, read, see, listen to, and possibly even feel might not be exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah. But again, can be gorgeous for dreaming, creativity, just chilling, you know. But yeah, just, yeah, with Neptune, it's like, what am I not seeing?
Well, you have the Jupiter with that expansion. The Mercury is the details and it's the how to the process. You have the sun illuminating it, and you've got Neptune. So if you're wanting to do an art project or a painting, this is when you're going to be inspired. I would think that's very inspirational energy to get anything done.
Oh, really, really nice creative energy there. Yeah, yeah. Just not so good for rational thinking.
No.
Because that Mercury's in detriment and fall. It's kind of as far away as being analytical and nitpicky as you can kind of be.
Right. So. Well, that Mercury's normal house is Virgo, and that is right directly across from where it likes to be. It likes to be in Virgo, and it is so far away from home. It's at the opposite side of the wheel. So you can't be any further away from home than Mercury is. And that's how Mercury is not exactly has all the details, but has the communication. If you want to present a new idea, I think this would be a great time to get people at least accepting of it.
Yeah, I'm very big believer in Mercury ruled by Jupiter, so in Pisces or Sag, being kind of thinking outside the box sort of thing. It's kind of like Jupiter is kind of big picture, whereas Mercury's that detailed analytical look. So sometimes, you know, you need to have it can be helpful to see that big picture. So
it can be. And with Jupiter in its own sign, it's going to have more say-so on that.
Yeah.
Mercury, Neptune goings on than probably we think.
And I mean, like, just looking at this chart here, if you're a Scorpio, that's all happening in your 5th house, which is creativity, and that great time, particularly for Scorpios. Be a fun time too for Taurus, because it'll be in their 11th house.
Yeah. So the next aspect is going to be on the 26th.
Mercury's
going into Aries. Oh, okay. The 26th, yeah. Mercury is sextiling
Oh.
Pluto, right?
Oh, yes, Mercury and Pluto. So it's going, yeah, it'll do that before it goes into Aries. So, and I know that you were very interested in this moon here. So let me get the exact. So we have Mercury.
Yep.
And we have Pluto. And it's a sextile. So it's a helpful aspect. And really good time for intense thinking, digging deep into different things. As we said, that Mercury's not in a super strong position. I would think that it'd be a really good time for digging in deep. It's kind of like, which I always think of as very much a Scorpio thing, but and we're going to have the moon come up and conjoin Pluto at the same time, so that might trigger something. So it looks about 5:30 or something in the afternoon if you're in the eastern states of the US. So yeah,
On the last Saturday of the month. Yeah, with the moon typically being our closest planet, settling up next to Pluto, and that sextiling, it shouldn't be it's not a hard aspect. It's not something that's that we have to work hard to acquire. You do have to do a little bit of work with the sextile in order to get or manifest what you want, what you're wanting, or what you're trying to say or convince people to change their minds with the Pluto and Mercury.
Yeah, it's it could be possibly rather good for self-reflection, going within yourself perhaps. Yeah, it's I see Pluto and I always just think intense or honest, and can be a little bit brutal, but it's a sextile, so it should be fine.
Yeah. And then we ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let me just.
Okay, that'll be Mercury in Aries, and that is
that'll be fun.
Yeah. A lot of people are going to want to be speaking. This is a good time to want to get your voice out there, because that Aries is that starter cardinal energy.
Yeah, initiating.
So if
you
want to say something, now would be a good time to say it. It's going to be pretty much sextiling the moon.
Yeah. It will be kind of coming to the end of its synodic cycle, because Mercury is going to eventually catch up to the sun and pass it, and then start a whole new cycle, which will be in Aries, which will be interesting. So it looks like maybe a week away from that. So being so close to the sun is going to weaken it a little bit. And this is kind of quite interesting too, because being so close to the sun, it can be hidden. So some people might feel that their voice isn't being heard at this time. And with Aries being ruled by Mars, which is that planet of aggression and that, so there might be some hurt feelings there. But it is kind of coming to the end of that cycle, and it's going to start a new one. So it's kind of an old cranky kind of Mercury at this stage. So, but I mean, then again, it's just been through all that lovely Pisces stuff, and then it gets into Aries, and it's like, it
was having a relaxing time in Pisces and that cool energy, but in that heat, dry Aries there, it is more. It's going to be more abrupt. I would.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Mercury and Aries people. Yeah. They say what they think, and if they say something nice to you, you can take it to the bank. They're not gonna polish it up for you. Not that they can't be polished and refined and all that. It's just, but they speak their mind.
Well, they're trying to get things done. They're the cardinal energy. They're the do it. So yeah, that's where that comes from. Which is good. I you need somebody to sit there and say, you know what, it's time to veg on the couch, and you need somebody to say, yeah, we're not moving, and then you need somebody to say, let's get going. So it's the whole, it's that,
and at least you know where you stand with them.
That cycle. Yeah.
At least you know where you stand with them.
You do. Which is
and then
nice.
We're going to have Venus and Saturn, which will be the next day.
Yeah,
so
that will be nice. Not that Venus really appreciates sitting right on top of Saturn. Saturn's is controlling. Saturn tells you no. Saturn tells you not now. But if you are looking at Venus and Saturn to start a project in your house, like if this is falling in your 4th house and you're going, let's do let's redo a part of the house, that would be the energy, because that Saturn's going to give you that stable energy, and that Venus is going to give you that beauty and the what's going to be comfortable and that type of thing. I like that energy. I really do. It's not that hard now that Venus is still, well, she will not be in between Venus or Mars and Saturn soon, probably the following day.
She's getting ready to overtake
she's
Saturn.
Free.
So
She's
saying, getting her freedom.
Enough of you, Mars. I'm not going to speak with you anymore for a while. And she's going to be moving on when she passes that Saturn, which is on the 28th. So,
and I'm just looking here too at the time, which will be like 5 o'clock in the morning. The moon will have come between Mars and Venus, though the moon moves really quickly. It'll only be there for a couple of hours, but that does give it some sort of
breather.
And whenever I see Venus and Saturn, I always think about stability in relationships. It might be a little bit boring, might be a little bit routine, but it's, it's not too erratic, which in that sign of Aquarius can sometimes be a little bit erratic. So it might actually kind of, make her feel a little bit more centered, perhaps. And she's getting further away from that Mars. Venus and Mars were together for about a month, chasing each other, and Venus is pulling away from that. So from the 29th onwards, Venus will be moving past Saturn and heading towards getting into Pisces. Which is where she's exalted, and that's going to be really nice. It's a shame that Mercury and the Sun will have already moved on to Aries by then. It would have been a great party in Pisces.
In Pisces. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would have been.
And that's all the major aspects up until the full moon. No, the new moon, sorry, in Aries on April Fool's Day.
Yeah. That should be not illuminating.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time to start something.
Yeah.
That's just the jokester in me. I like to play jokes.
I like April Fool's Day. Yeah.
I do. As a kid, I always liked, the cardboard and the sandwiches, and the milk green was my mom's favorite. I think she did that on St. Patrick's Day. Anyway.
Yes.
So, this should be the forecast for the full moon in Virgo. So the next one we'll be doing will be for April 1st, the new moon.
Yes. So the new moon in Aries. And then we'll do the Aries Ingress, which is when the sun enters Aries prior to that. So set the tone for the whole year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
That should be for each individual country, because it's by country and it's based on where their capital is and what the outlook for the year or a few months after that will be. It's
Yeah.
very
Depending
interesting.
where the planets are and all that sort of stuff, in which houses, which reminds me, if you don't know anything about the natal houses, do check out, I think it's the third podcast, but it's about the astrological houses and we look at Saturn through the Sibley chart, which is a really interesting podcast. So I'll put a link to that one in there as well.
Yeah, it'll give people a refresher of which houses all this stuff will show up in.
Yeah, yeah. And where can people catch you, Donna?
You can get a hold of me on my website at donnabastrology.com. And my email is donnabarconsulting@gmail.com. So you can get a hold of me if you don't have your chart or don't know your rising sign. If you know your birth information, I'll be happy to send it off to you. It costs me nothing to do it. So
yeah,
don't mind doing it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And where can people reach you, Lynda?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to catch me, I'm at Lynda@scullywag.com. That's SCULLYWAG. Yeah. And I'm doing readings. I also have something on the website. There is, let me think, if you go to the part with horoscopes, you can actually do up your own little chart, which will tell you your ascendant if you feel up to doing that, or if you're not comfortable doing that, drop me a line. I'll send you what your ascendant is, send you a copy of your chart. Like Donna says, we've got the software, it's no big deal. So
yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it for until next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you.